Good afternoon to you. Mark Sutton with HurricaneTrack.com here. Hurricane Outlook and discussion time for Saturday, the 4th of September, 2021. This will be pretty short today because we don't have a lot to talk about in terms of impacts. No big impacts coming up from any of the systems that we have out there. It's still very busy. I mean, we've got a Category 3 hurricane out over the open Atlantic, but that's a good place for it to be, out over the open Atlantic. Nevertheless, it is going to provide some impacts. Some of those are going to be favorable for our surf community out there, get ready, but also unfavorable in terms of rip currents and the big waves that are coming. Those can cause neck and back injuries. We're going to address that in the coming days, but at least we don't have anything to worry about knocking on the doorstep of a major landfall problem this year around Labor Day. All right, we've had enough already, so at least some quiet times ahead in terms of direct impacts. What do we have? Well, we have Invest Area 91L kind of sitting down here over portions of Central America, Belize, Guatemala, the Yucatan, bringing some heavy rain, some squally conditions, but that is about it. Not really thinking this is going to develop too much, but it could become a nuisance and a rainmaker for our friends up here along the Gulf Coast region. We'll watch that over the coming days. Of course, we have Larry out here, the 11 o'clock advisory from the Hurricane Center, indicating that it was a pretty strong Category 3, air pressure down to 958. And again, this is going to be a big ace producer as it heads up into the general direction of Bermuda, which is right here. So we'll have to watch and see if this envelope slides over to the left. And when I say envelope, I mean the guidance envelope. If it slides to the left or the west to any significant degree at this point, it could bring some direct impacts to Bermuda. We do have a live camera there from one of our patrons. Howard supports that camera for us so we can peek in. One way or the other, this will get close enough to probably bring tropical storm conditions, gusty winds, some big surf on those various islands of Bermuda, so we'll watch this closely. And this will bring waves all the way out into the western Atlantic over the next several days, and that will bring high surf, maybe even some flooding if those big waves roll up enough, and certainly the threat of rip currents will be there. We'll talk about that in more detail as we get closer to that time frame where we expect those swells to start impacting a good deal of the east coast of the United States. Those swells already bringing some impacts down to portions of the islands, so just keep an eye on that and be careful out there if you're in the water. All right, down in the Central American area, 91L, not much of a vorticity signature with it at all, barely detectable, so I am not too concerned with it for the time being. Satellite animation, courtesy of Tropical Tidbits this afternoon. Strong Larry out there in the open Atlantic doing its thing, taking heat and transferring it from the oceans into the atmosphere and dispersing that heat. So it's doing a good job of that without bothering any land areas, at least, as I said, directly. And there's 91L in the Caribbean. Again, this might come up and bring some nuisance rain, maybe some coastal storm surge impacts if you get enough onshore flow, but that's about it. Nothing else brewing. We're kind of in this down period right now between the very favorable MJO phases. I would suspect that as we get to about mid-September through possibly mid-October, that window is going to open up again, and we're going to get another big flurry of activity with the potential of impacts. So we do have Larry racking up those ace points, another name off the list of names, but nothing else really coming into the picture here from the global models over the next several days, as we are again between those really favorable windows of opportunity, it does look like. And we can see this reflected in the Euro, the ECMWF model for today. This is the 12Z run from today, 850 millibars. There's very easy to pick out Larry and its vorticity signature as a strong hurricane. Virtually nothing over here associated with 91L. So again, I'm not too concerned about that, at least in the next several days. We'll put this into motion every 24 hours off of this version of the Euro anyway. You see Larry moving on along, and let me at least point out where Bermuda is. Right there, I'll just kind of circle it and cover it up there. That's Bermuda, and this is 48, there's 72, 96. A couple things to note. Larry looks like it gets even stronger, so this could become a solid Category 4, and there's enough ocean heat content around. It wouldn't surprise me if it becomes a Cat 5. I mean, honestly, out over the open water, the upper ocean heat content being what it is in a very favorable environment, So 140, 150, 160 miles per hour wouldn't shock me at all. But I think it's going to stay east enough of Bermuda to spare them a direct hit. And then there's that energy trying to come together here by 4 days just south of Louisiana. I know that's not what you all want to hear or see. No major issues except rain, and that can be a problem, especially with people still dealing with no place to live, tarps on the roofs, trying to clean up and put their lives back together in the wake of Ida. So we'll watch this closely. Even if it's not a named storm, it could bring some problems for our friends down there in Cajun country and beyond. So I took the telestration away by accident. Let's put it back. There's Bermuda. That's day 4. This is day 5. And the Euro shows close but no cigar, thank goodness. Larry passes on by. And this is really going to rack up those ace points. And if you follow that, that's a really important measure of how the hurricane season literally measures up from an energy output perspective. And the longer these intense hurricanes are out there, the higher those ace scores are. And it gives scientists a way to look back and say, well, we had a whole bunch of storms, but did they really do anything in terms of the energy output? A short-lived, weak tropical storm doesn't have a very high ACE score, whereas one of these longer-lasting, intense hurricanes does. And that matters in the scheme of things in terms of quality versus the quantity. Now, at day 5 and 6 here, this is day 6, a little bit of a reflection here south of Mississippi and Alabama with 91L. So we'll have to see, that could try to get itself together right before coming in. And that's 6 days out. And we know how much things can change, so we'll see, right? Let's just hope for the best. But, hope by itself, you know what I say, not a proper planning tool. You got to do more than just hope these things away. By day 7, and we'll leave it at that, Larry is way up here in the North Atlantic. It might try to sideswipe portions of Newfoundland. We'll see about that. And there's 91L coming ashore. We'll watch. We'll see. It's got potential, and it's small too in the model field compared to Larry. And sometimes these smaller systems can get stronger and kind of slip through the cracks. So let's just watch and see what happens. You also see here at day 7, there's an impulse coming off Africa there, curled up, kind of high in latitude. That's a week away. We know it's peak time of the hurricane season. We'll just wait and see what happens. All right, don't forget I'm on the Twitter at HurricaneTrack. CJ handles a lot of our Facebook at all of its hurricane tracking. You're watching on YouTube, which I appreciate very much. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, share the video. Hopefully you like the video and let the algorithms do their thing in promoting what we're doing so more people can get involved and follow along. It's been great, the growth that we've had this year. Again, really appreciate it. Of course, we are supported through our crowdfunding effort, which has grown substantially this year. If you want to learn more about that, Patreon, it's an app and a website where you can support creators such as myself. Patreon.com/HurricaneTrack. The link to that is in the description of this video. Little fly flying around my office. Get out of here. All right, I'm going to get out of here, post this video, and wish you guys a great rest of your Saturday. As always, thanks for tuning in and giving me a part of your day. I am Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com. I'll be back with more for you tomorrow.